In last session we have left one thing while we were checking, we were going through some of the basic commands and functions in
Yes.
Postgres. Product orders. Okay, okay, okay. So public. Okay, there is one issue with this table, right? Order table don't have the amount. Order
Yeah.
table should have some amount, but no issues. Let's go to the products. So select AVG, then price from public, and then products. So now we have,
Average amount.
yes. So there are different functions as well. I mean, this is the only thing that we have left in the last session. So
Yeah.
for this average, for sum, so these are the functions that we have in Postgres or any SQL. So these few are the basic functions, and uh, they are called aggregate functions.
Okay.
And they are called aggregate functions because they aggregate the data,
Okay.
right? Because the thing is, over here they aggregated the price, right? They
Yeah.
combined the price of it. So there are multiple aggregate functions. We are not going to go through all. So count asterisk is also an aggregate function. So right now we have count and expression as well, but we are not going to cover those things. But the thing is, there are some very few that I think you have also gone through in college. Okay, you're not from the pet. Okay, cool. So like this was an average, right? So
Yeah.
what I can do, I can ask for max as well. Give me the max price from public products. So these are the very common things that we require, right? So
Yeah. Yes.
max.
Yes.
So from max, I would want maybe min as well, right?
I mean, yes.
So min is also there, max is also there, right? The thing is, and while we are doing min and max, then there might be chance I want total amount, right? What's the,
Total
if I
amount.
want
Yes.
to buy everything, how, what's the amount, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So these three and four, whatever numbers we have seen, these are the very basic. Like count asterisk is one, this sum, min, max, average. These all
Yeah.
are functions, and these are called aggregate functions. And there are different functions as well, which provide aggregate values of array, and then average value of an expression that we can take
Yes.
out. But the thing is, we're not going to cover that. You can Google it on your own. But the thing is, these kind of operations we can do, right? And not only
Yeah.
from a single column. If this column was array, I mean the data over here was an array, then also we are able to compute these primary functions, right? Because these are way too basic items that one requires while working with the database, right?
Yeah.
Because in indexes, we'll see when we're going to cover the indexes. Indexes are also sequence and maximum and minimum. If I want to
Okay.
traverse from in descending ascending order, then I will start traversing from the maximum, and in descending order I will start from the last one. So all right, so there are few more basic commands that we will see in our section. We have already know that if I want to get all data, so this is the way, right? This is the this is the query. Select asterisk, give me everything from the public table, and in RDMS everything is rows and columns, right?
Yes.
So this thing we have seen. So this is the one of the basic items and very useful. And the next thing would be to add the where clause, right?
Yeah.
So you have already know those things, but
Yes.
instead of, and the another thing would be, the better version would be, from not taking everything, I just need ID and product ID.
Product.
So
Yes.
this would be the another thing that one should know. Very basic, again we have already covered,
Yeah.
but then do we need to know. Then we have the data. Now we have limited the number of rows. What is
Oh.
this? This is rows and columns, right? The
Yeah.
database is rows and columns. So right now we get all the rows, right? Now
Yeah.
we get all the rows, but we have limited our columns, right? So there were
Yes.
four columns. Now we have limited our columns. Now we need some way. I mean, this is the select. Select is the way in where we can limit our columns. Now we also need a thing so that we can limit our rows, right? So
Yes.
where query is the query where
Yeah.
we can limit our
Yes.
this, where product ID is
equal
only
to
greater
1.
than 2, right? Okay, product underscore id. So underscore id, right? So this is how we have limited our rows as well, limited our columns, right? So these three are, and the where clause is basically used for filtering out, right? So when we are saying
Yeah.
that we are limiting the rows, then we are filtering out the rows, right? Over here we are accessing only limited columns. Over here we are filtering out the rows, right? So
Yes.
for filtering of data, we use where clause, right? Then
Yes. Yes.
then another thing that we have also seen that right now we have these data, right?
Yeah.
But these 343, right? These 343 is happening. So what I want to do, I want to
Yeah.
order by product ID, right?
Yeah.
If I hit it, then it by default it would be in ascending order, right?
Ascending
If
order.
I want
Yes.
to be in descending order, then DESC.
Yes. See.
Now it is in descending order, right? Then the sorting was in ascending and descending order. This is the another thing that we know, and we have already seen in I mean just a few minutes before we have seen aggregate function also. That's why I'm not repeating it again. So another thing is the functions that we use. We have completely dedicated one session on the functions. So basic all the functionality of basic functions we have already covered, right? Now the
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
another thing that one must know is the subqueries. And
Subqueries.
but we are going to dedicate a complete one session on subqueries and one session on joins. So we are going to
Okay.
skip those things and we are going to move to group by, right?
Okay.
So today we are going to see the group by, right? So
Yeah.
select star from public and users. Let's uh, 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 okay, nothing to do. Group by state. Okay, cool. See, now I want to get data. Select. I want to get number of users so that okay. ठीक है. What will the output of this code?
We will get the count
6,
of
right?
total number of rows. Yes.
This is 6. Cool. But what if I want to do it by state wise? And
Yeah.
what happened? I want the count. I mean that has not
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
I want the count, right? But
Yes. Yes.
I I mean in which way I want count, that has changed. Over here I
Yeah.
want count from user table, right? How many rows exist in user table? This is user
Yeah.
ID. Now I want how many rows exist in the user table by, but I want to group those
State.
number of counts by state. So in the
State.
state you can see that 1 2 2 is the
2 is a single
2 is the count for 1, and then 1 single is for 2, and then 3
2.
you will find it 3 times, right? So that's
Yeah.
the count 3 to 1, right?
Yeah.
But this is the one thing, right, that we have got some data using the aggregate function, right? That's why
Yeah.
aggregate function was important, because
Yeah.
in the group by, what we are doing, we are grouping these rows, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we are grouping these rows, then we are computing data. What were we doing? If I want to, let's say there is a state, right? I want the sum of
Yes.
all these states. Then 3 3 3 9 plus 1 10 and 13 13 will be the output, right? Select sum state from public
Not users.
users. Okay, 13, right? What happened? I aggregated and make the sum of these rows, right?
Yes.
So what if I want, now the thing is over here you can see that I get the count as right. So
Yeah.
count, we have seen that it is also a aggregate function.
Aggregate function.
So what happens when we do the grouping of more than one table, right? Let's suppose if I mean I have these three data, right?
Yeah.
So can I get the name only after grouping these three columns?
Sorry. Can you repeat it again?
Yeah, sure. So the thing is, I'm doing group by, right? Over here I'm doing
Yeah.
group by, right? So the count over here 3
Yeah.
is this 3 rows, right? 4 5 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I want, I mean, can I get the Swati, Paramita, and Nikhila? These three things, can I get it with the group by clause over here?
I think no, because we don't get it in the output.
Why?
Because there might be get ambiguity, like because it is grouping the similar values in the state,
Yes, yes, yes. You're on the
and the,
correct path. Yes, the answer is correct.
and the names are different.
Yes. The
So
thing is, we have already grouped these three, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you try to get the name, then it
No,
won't
no,
make
no.
sense.
Yeah,
Because the thing is, if I try, if I try to get the name, right? There
yeah,
is no ambiguity with name, right? That's why I'm not using su and then u dot name, because there is no ambiguity. But a good developer should use this. I'm just going to do this a few times, but not every time. If you are writing some SQL, right? Sometimes we need to
yeah.
write the native SQL. When we are working with Hibernate, we call it native SQL. So whenever we are
Okay.
writing the native SQL, then make sure that you follow this pattern, right? Over there you
Yeah,
should not follow that without u dot something, that we should not do this, right? But right now what
yeah.
will happen if I try to hit enter with this, if I try to run this, then it will say, okay, column u does not exist. Okay, my bad. Second. Okay, name does not okay, first name. Okay, cool, my bad.
First,
Public and f. See, now what it's saying, this is the correct error. It's saying that column u dot first name must appear in the group by clause or be used in aggregate functions, right?
yeah,
What it's saying, that you should group by something or you should use that particular thing in the aggregate function. And why
okay.
it is saying so? And let's see, I mean, let's remove these things, and then let's
Let's
see
start
public
from
users again first. See, this is
users.
the data, right? So
Yeah,
what have we done? We have seen that if I do this public and users, right, and then I'll say that please group
group
by
by
state, right? So I
state.
get this
Yes.
data, right? So
Yeah,
the error we got, it was saying that either use the aggregate function with it, or the value should be in the group by, right?
uh, yeah,
Again, if I try, nothing new. If I try to get right, oh, what's happening? Now it's fine, guys. First name. So what it's saying, either user dot first name must appear in the group by clause, right? What is the group by clause? Group by clause is this. So what
state.
we have in our group by clause right now, we are having,
State.
yes. So what will happen if I'll write instead of first name, if I write the state, then it will give me the data, right? For
Yeah,
state 3 it's 3, for state 2 it's 1. And why
yeah,
this is happening? The thing is, because we are grouping by some value, right? In this table we are grouping by some value, right?
yeah,
So if I'm grouping by value this, so the, I know that the values over the different columns might be different, but the value in the state column will be same, right?
yes,
So that's why I'm able to get the value that the
yeah,
count of 3 is having, the state 3 as the count 3.
yeah,
And why I'm able to use it, because in the group by state I have used it, right?
yeah, yeah,
If I'm grouping by something that I don't want to use aggregate function over here, right? I can
yeah,
directly access it. But
yeah,
if I want something like, let's suppose these thing, I want it again. I mean, then it's instead of state, let's say that this is the price, right? And I want to get the
yeah,
value. So if I want to do it, then what I can do, that I need to, what the error is saying, that either it should be appear in the group by clause, right? So now we know why we can use the group by clause directly, because these rows have been grouped together by a single column, right? So the value of this will be a constant. That's why we are able to get a single column, right?
yeah,
And why I'm not able to get the first name? Because if I try to get the first name, the value of the first name will be different. Which one to choose, I don't know, right?
yeah,
Over here, which one to choose? Anyone I can choose, because everything is same, right? Because I have grouped by this
Yeah.
particular data, right? So that's why
Yeah.
group by, if we have something in the group by, we can directly access it, because we know there would be no ambiguity, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
I want to access some other data other than
Yeah.
one that I have used in the group by, then I can just use the aggregate functions. And why aggregate functions? Because let's suppose this, instead of this state, let's suppose that this is a column which is having the price, right?
Yeah.
So what can I do with the price? I can do the sum, right? What I can say that please group by if I had a order. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to the different public orders. Oh, but our order don't have price. Cool. Let's suppose that in this table only we have the price also, right? Let's suppose the
Yeah.
state is the price as well. So I
Yeah.
want to aggregate that which state has the maximum price, right? Or which
Okay.
state has the which XYZ price, right? So
Yeah.
what can I do? I have these three rows, right, grouped together. So I want to
Yeah.
aggregate sum of these three columns. So 3 plus 9.
Yeah.
So I get 9 over here, I get 2 here, and I get the combination of these 1 and 2 will be there, right? So if I use the previous command, that this I have used it earlier, what I can add is I can add another aggregate function, that would be the sum,
So
and I will say that please do sum of this state, right?
state.
So the sum is over here, right? 3 3
Yeah.
2 1 and 1 2 2 2. So this
Yeah.
is the sum in the second part, right?
Okay.
So these things I can do on my own, right? So
Yeah.
we have also seen that, okay, if I want to know that how many uh, first name of user is there, right? So what can I do over here? I know that I can use only one thing. Okay. In our last session, we have gone through uh, a lot of functions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So date functions we have covered, and
Yeah.
we have covered string functions,
Yes.
right? And we have covered numeric functions, right?
Yeah.
These three functions we have covered in our last sessions. So the
Awesome.
thing is, now what we have done is we have used some basic item, right? Like we know that we can use sum with the integer, right? But
Yeah.
the thing is, if I want to use something else, right? If I want to concat something, that how I concated the two string in last session.
Yeah. Plus.
Like, this is the one way, but we haven't used this way in our last session.
Yeah.
What we have done, select
Okay.
a,
Oh.
this thing we have done, right? Remember?
Yes.
But when I mentioned that this is called pipe, and the or this is usually or when we use in Java, right? So
Yes.
this is concatenation in database, especially in Postgres, right? So either we can
Yeah.
use concatenate, either we can use this pipe, double pipe, or section. So what I want to do, if I want to know the count, right? The count, or I don't want the count, I want to concat. But the thing is, over here one needs to know, if I want to concat first name, right? Okay, let's take the query that is working first of all, right?
Yeah.
This query is working, right? Now
Yes.
let's say that I want to concatenate all the, okay, I want to concatenate all the first name, right?
First name.
So if I try to run it, will it run? Will it give the all the values? We have seen that concatenate work, right? And
Yeah.
we are saying that, okay, the values will be grouped by, the values will be grouped by, where is the value, where is the value, the values will be grouped by, right? These three columns will be there. So the Swati, Paramita and Nikhila will be the output in if I try to run it in the name. Oh, the first name, FIRST, first name, right? So the thing is, it won't work. No
Yeah.
brownie points for guessing, because the thing is, this concat is not a aggregate function, right?
Yeah.
This concat is a normal function.
Normal function.
So what happens? Sometimes people get too excited, and instead of using only the concat, the aggregate function, they try to use the normal functions as well, with
Yeah.
the group by clause, right? But the error in the first step, the error will be same every time you will do something wrong with the group by. It will show the same error, right? That
Yeah.
that this first name, either the first name should appear in the aggregate function, or the group by clause will be should be
Google
used with an
Class.
aggregate function, right? Either use the column that you want to access in the group by clause, because that if I do that, then what will happen, that the grouping will be by the first name, and then the first name will become unique and I will be able to do it, access it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And the other thing would be that what I can do, that I can use an aggregate function, right? So this thing we must remember, that when we want to use the group by, then we can use, we can access in the select part, in the select clause we can access only the values which are in the group by clause, because the thing is, because if we try to access the columns that are in the group by clause, then that would be unique, because
yeah.
based on that particular column the grouping will be happening. Okay, so that would be the first thing. Another thing would be that if I'm not doing that and I still want to use the group by, I want to access some data using the group by, then what I can do, I can use the aggregate function.
Yes,
And why? Because even if the three rows becomes a single entity, then to aggregate function will aggregate the sum of, or the values of all the rows that have been aggregated together, right?
yeah, yes,
So this is why with the group, having a group by clause, there is two conditions that one needs to match. If I want something in the select clause, then that thing should present in the
group by.
group by clause, because it makes that particular value unique to access.
Yeah,
Otherwise
yeah,
we must use the aggregate functions, just to make sure that when the x number of rows that I group, then that the particular column I want to access, that column's value can be aggregated, right? So the thing
yes,
is, group by is way too common item which a lot of people don't know how it works. So that's why
yeah,
I'm trying to focus it a lot, right? Because where clause
yes,
is very simple. Everyone is able to work with the where clause, right?
yeah,
Nothing new.
yeah, yeah,
And where and that's it. Cool. So
yeah.
this is the two things that we have seen. Now the other thing is, so what happened if I have done this select, and what I have done, this is a aggregate function,
Come,
right? A lot of people don't know that this is an aggregate function,
as well.
but this
Yes.
is an aggregate function. So public
Users.
and users, and then, or oh sorry, group by state, again we are doing the same item. So now what's happening with us, that we have these three rows, right? And now we have advanced a little bit further, so we know that we can access the state as well, right, from there. So I
Yeah,
can access the state as well, right? Okay, so this thing I have right now, and the better version would be when the state is before the count, right? Select state. Cool. Now it's looking a little better. State and then the count that we have from the state. Cool. Now what I want to do, I have the I have these data, right?
yes.
But again the thing is, what why we use the where clause?
Uh,
Okay, okay, cool. Just few minutes earlier we have covered this. We use
yeah,
where, if I don't use where clause, there is no way that I can reduce the number of rows that I have over here, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So to reduce the number of row, or to filter out the rows, I use the where clause, right?
Yeah, plus, yes.
So if you see over here, then I have the data of the entire row, right?
Yes.
I have the data of entire row. So the one thing that
And
one needs to know, that I don't want to get the data where state equals to 2, right?
yeah.
So what it's saying,
So
state
state
count string of
function.
public user group by state and where, syntax error it's saying, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So can now the one question arises, that can I use group by, sorry, yes, can I use a group by with the where clause?
Yes, we can use.
Okay, so how can I update the
But
query?
where should be before of group by.
Yes.
Yes.
Where clause should be.
Before of group by.
ठीक. Okay, cool. So let's do one thing. Instead of taking two, what we can do, we can do that in. You are aware of in, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. No, I think we have got that as well. So now what we have done, we have used the where query to filter out the data that we get, right? So now the
yeah,
state
yeah.
is 1 and the one state has count 2 and the state
Two.
3 has count 3, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So nice. So what now? So I now the thing is, I have the data, right? In the where clause, I
Yeah.
have filter out the rows. But
Yes.
before grouping by, I have filter out the rows, right?
Yeah.
So what if I want to filter out the rows that I'm getting after post the grouping?
Okay.
If I write over here again where clause, right?
Yeah,
Group
yeah.
by state. If I try to write again over here where
It will not.
count or where state is greater than 1, right?
Yeah.
Then I will get error, right? This is the same
Yeah.
error that we were getting earlier, right?
Yeah.
So now we know that, okay, before filtering, we can filter out the rows before the
Group by.
grouping by using the where clause, right?
That class.
But
Yes.
what if I want to do it afterwards? So for
I will.
accessing after, we have a having clause, right?
Yeah,
So
okay.
having, we if after post of group by we can use having, and
Have it. Okay.
previously of group by we can use where clause. Again, a thing that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that one should know, is that's why the group by and having. So one interview question is, can we use where with the group by? The answer is yes, because people think, because in online platform you will see that group by we use having with the group by, but we use
Yeah.
both statement is true. We can use the state with group by and we can use the having with the group by also. But the thing is, we should be, I mean, group by post grouping we can only use having, and pre grouping by group by we can use where clause, right? So what we are
Yeah.
doing, we are giving less data to the group by, right? Group by, right? What we are doing, we
Yes.
see how the query is executed, right? Earlier this
Yeah.
thing is not executed earlier on, right? First thing is that
Yeah.
this is I mean, we check that the user that we are right now, the user with which
Yeah.
we have authenticated ourselves is
Yeah.
having the access for this particular schema, for public schema. If yes, then
Yeah.
he has access to this particular user table. If yes, then from there it goes that, okay, how many tables we have? Okay, we have the n number of the rows. Then we do I need to get all the rows? No, because we have the where clause over here, and where clause is stating that we should only get the rows that are having 1 and 3 in the state, right? So it will
Yes.
filter out this 2. Then the remaining thing will be passed to the group by. Then this
Yeah.
group by will not be facing this 2, right? But
Yeah.
post the group by has done its work, right? Now where clause has no authority over there, because where clause works with a table, right?
Yes.
It's used to filter the rows that is written.
Yeah.
Now if I have already grouped something, then I can only use having, right? Post it.
Yeah.
But having
Yeah.
comes with its own challenges, right? For example, if I'll say our user has first name, right? So if
Yes.
I'll say where first name, one is first name, right? If I'll say where the first name is Naresh, right? Then
Yeah.
we get the error, the same error, the same error that we are getting by using while we were trying to access something which was not aggregated, right? The first
Yes.
name is not aggregated, right?
Yeah.
So how can I get the Naresh when it's aggregated with 1 and 1? Seema,
One.
right? Naresh and Seema
Yeah.
has been aggregated. So I mean, it's a single entity while when I have group by, right? So
Yeah.
I will not be able to do the same uh, checks or the same limitations that was with us in the group by clause is still persists with us in the having clause, right? Because we are
Mm.
still using group by, right? Group by is having is
Yeah.
just I mean accessing the data that group by has, right?
Yeah.
So I cannot use anything which is not inside the group by clause or which is not a aggregate function, right? Again the
Aggregate.
same issue
Yeah.
I'll face. So let's say over here I have written it count, right?
Yeah.
So this count, if I'll try to say that okay, uh, okay, let's, okay, I have done something with my local system, it's not working properly. Okay, so it's not making sense to move little by little. Okay, it's better to write it again. So state and then count asterisk, and I
Yeah.
can take it as state count, right? State count,
Yeah.
and state count from public users where state n and 1 and 3, right? No having right
Yeah.
now. State does not exist. Where state does not exist. This is a state, right? From public users. From public users. Okay, state dot I use. Okay. Okay, it's going backward fine, but it's not moving. Okay, cool. Mhm. Okay, cool. What I have done wrong is state and dot I have used, right, instead of comma. That's why it's
Yeah.
giving error. Cool. So over here I haven't done having, right, till now. So it just count asterisk and all those things. But I have forgot what I was trying to tell. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Yes, we were trying to use as. Okay. So let's say it's as, and I'm saying state count. Okay,
State
SC.
count.
Okay, host from.
From.
Okay, cool. So it
Yeah.
is as I have it as SC, right? So if I try
Yeah.
to use having SC and greater than 2, right? Can I
Yeah.
can I access the SC over here, right? But the thing is, the select part happens at the end, not before. Because when we
Okay.
are done with our everything from the where query, when we are done with our filtering, our sorting, our
Mm.
grouping, post completion of everything, then our select query works, right?
Okay. Okay.
So the thing is, I'm trying to access this thing SC when SC does not even create it until now, right?
Yes.
Because group by is not completed, right, and I'm trying to access it. So
Yeah.
but I want to filter out things from here, right? Because I have already filtered based on state, but I haven't filtered till now based on the grouping, right?
Grouping. Yes.
So when the SC, when this count of state is less than 2, then I don't want
Yeah.
the data, right? If I'll do this,
Yes.
if I'll add this check as well, and then this value 3 and 2 is the aggregate values, right?
Yes.
So if I add one check that okay, post the grouping by, if the state, the count of state is still less than 2, then don't show me, then only one row will be there, right? So
Yes.
what I will do, instead of having again, so we know that okay, with a group by clause I can only do two things. Either I can access the values, the columns which I have used in the grouping group by clause, or I can use the aggregate function, right? Over here I have also used the aggregate function, right? So same thing
Yes.
I will use here as well, where count asterisk is equal to greater than equal to 2, right? Now I get the
Yeah.
data.
Yeah.
This thing, so this is how one needs to use it. So it having clause, again two checks, either I will use it with aggregate function,
Aggregate
or
function.
I will if I'm using it group by with the group by, then the value that I have with the group by, I can use that particular thing with the having, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing to know, can we use where with the group by? Which one we can use, where or having with the group by? We can use both. Another thing, we can use group by with the where clause. Yes, we can use it, but where
Yes.
clause is used to filter out the number of rows that we have in our table.
Yes.
So before giving, for grouping the data, we can filter out the data. So we can use where clause in with the group by clause, but we need to use where clause before the group by clause, right? And if there is
Yes.
something that I want to filter out, then I can filter out based on, if the based on some aggregate functions, if I want to filter out, then I will use having. If I want to filter out the aggregated data,
Yes.
right? Because the thing
Yeah.
is, like over here I have also done this where having, oh, having, now having state equals to 3. This thing I can also, I could have done, right?
Yes.
But this thing in having clause does not make sense. Why? Because if I want to remove this thing state equals to 3, right,
Yeah.
then I don't need to put it in the having clause because I am filtering out, right? I can just
Yeah.
remove the data from here and the output will remain same, right? Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. So I need to do this 3, right? The data is still same, right?
Yeah.
So we never use having clause without the main data that we want to, without the aggregate functions. Majorly if we are using having clause, then we will be using the aggregate functions, right?
Yes.
There will be one instance where we are not going to do that. So let's see next thing again with the group by. Okay, so let's take some different table, public products, right?
Yeah.
Asterisk, select. Okay, something is wrong with my system. Select asterisk from public products. Cool. So this is the data that we have. So first of all, I want to, okay, so we have seen that group by. Okay,
Yeah.
group by price. If I try to do the group by price, then nothing will happen. Okay, okay, okay. So let me add few products. Okay, insert into public and product side. We have already covered this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Values,
Values. Yeah.
then 5 product code. Let's do ting 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 ting
Product
ting,
code and product price.
and then price. I want to make sure that it's okay. If we have used something, some constraint, then it will give well as exception. See, till now we were using now, right?
Yeah.
So can we have completed our uh, this aggregate functions, right?
Yeah.
So now we know that current something we can also use or not, we can not use.
We can use.
Okay, so
Yeah.
which can we, I mean, instead of variable, instead of now which is a function, we will try to use a variable, right?
Yes.
So which variable we can use? Let's try to use
Um,
current date, right?
Current it
Let's see
is.
whether we will be able to use it or not. And then the name of the product, the name of the product should be lipstick nachos x mosquito, and
We
then
can mention as. Okay.
come again.
No. No. No.
Okay, let's say mobile charger, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have inserted something, and now if I want one more item. Okay, okay, yes, today I need to enter 2 items. So let's put 6, and then this thing, and then let's say 400, and instead of mobile charger 400 price, let's say that we want to okay, okay, pen, pencil, pen, pencil, pen, right? For costly pen. Cool. So now our table looks like this,
Yeah.
public and then products, right? So first thing that we have already seen, what we can do is we can do get the count from public and products group by price.
Yes.
So this is the count that we are getting, right? But
Yeah.
what I require also, the price I require, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And for price, if I want price as well, So the
Yeah.
500 has one product, 1000 has one product, 100 has
1000,
two products, right?
100 to 581.
So this thing we have seen, and why we are able to access it, because one is aggregate function and one is in the group by, right?
Okay.
So the thing is, can we group by using a single thing, grouping by based on only one column, right? We have done this thing right till now, that we have grouped based on a single column, right? We have grouped the prices, we have grouped the rows based on a single column, right? That 100,
Yes,
which
yes.
two item that has grouped, is
Yeah,
because
yeah,
100 and 100 is a single column
yeah,
item, right? But what
yeah.
if I want to group by multiple columns, right? So
Okay.
created date. Okay, one thing that we didn't notice is that we were able to use current date, right, directly instead of now. But everyone use now because the thing is it's little easy to use now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then created date. If I try to do this, then everyone has a single row, no grouping has happened. And what's the
Okay.
reason? Because the thing is, when earlier it should have happened that these two values should have been grouped by, but the thing is the dates are different, right?
Yeah.
And dates are different, that's why our group by is, we are getting every data as a single entity, right? No group by
Yeah.
happened, every data has one. Total rows are
Yeah.
6, right? No grouping happened.
No
So
good.
now if I try to add one more row, right? If I try to add one more row, and then what will happen, and I want the price of the product to be 100. And why I want that? Because that will pass the first criteria, right?
Yes.
So 7, and instead of pen, let's sell pencil. Cool.
Okay.
And now again, let's, this is how our table looks now, products. This is how our table looks right now. And if I
Yeah.
want now that, okay, please give me the price from public, okay, count as well, and give me the count as well, and from public products, okay, where group by mobile, group by price, right? So this is the thing that we are getting now. The 100 has 3 products, right? Group by
Yeah.
100 has 3 products. But when I'll try to group by, okay, group by price is there, but if I'll try to do group by current date as well, okay, created date as well, right? So what
Yeah.
will happen now? The 100 has 2, right? 100 has 1 and other 100 has 2,
Yeah.
right? So why this happened? Because this 100 has the same date, 21, right? And
Yeah.
the 5 also has the same date. Mobile charger and pencil has both price of 100 and has both the same date.
Yes.
So now what I'm trying to get, I'm grouping by the products which are of same price and has been created on the same date, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the thing, that's the number of products I want to get. I want to get the number of rows, the price, and the number of products that has been created on the same day. So there are two
Okay.
products over here. If we see, I just want to know the total number of products with the same price. So this is the query that I want, right? Now
Mhm.
in this query I wanted to know the total number of products which have been created, and I want to group by the date and price as well. So right now what I can do is I can directly go over here and I can I can add created date as well, right? Created.
Yes.
And why I'm able to use the created date? Because it's already in the group by clause, right?
Yes.
So the price is 100 and the product has been created on 8th of August, 10th of August, and the count is 1. Again the
Oh.
100 rupees product has been created but on the 21st of August, and the count is 2, right? So
Yeah.
this is how we use. So the another question is, can I use multiple columns to order by, group by, sorry? The answer is no.
Okay.
And the same concept goes with the order by as well. We can
Yeah.
order by with multiple columns as well, right? And the
Yeah.
ordering happens based on the this thing, right? First it will
Yeah.
try to group by price, and if the group by price, because when group by price happened, right, first, so what happened, the 3 data, this 3 data happened, this table got, right?
Yeah.
And then this 3 data, then we again try to group by with the created date, then it expanded again, right?
Yeah.
So out of 7, over here you will see the 5 rows is there, right? Because 3 rows
Yeah.
get segregated, aggregated. Over here 6 rows, because only 2 rows get segregated. The total data is 7.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was the next thing. The first thing that we have seen, that we can use where clause also with the group by, but where clause is used to filtering out the data. So
Yeah.
if I want to use where clause and group by together, so I need to filter out the data before I pass it to the grouping. So that
Yeah.
means that I need to use where clause before the group by clause.
Yeah.
Another thing, can I use group by, where and having together? Yes. Another question, can I use non a data which is not in the group by clause? Can I get that particular column data? The answer is no. Because in
Yeah.
where clause, in the group by clause, you can access only data which is present in the group by clause. In the select query as well, in
Yeah.
select clause as well, I can only access data which is in the group by or the aggregate
Okay.
function, right? So same happens with the having clause also. If I'm trying to
Yeah.
access something in the having clause, and why having clause is used, and what's the difference between where and having clause? This is again one question. The answer of this is where clause filter out the data before the grouping, and group
Yes.
by and having clause filter out the data after grouping, right? And when I say
Okay.
the data, then it means the rows, right?
Yes.
Because it's RDMS, so there will be rows and columns, right? So,
Yeah.
and to filter out the column, we have the select clause, right? So
Yeah.
if we are not we are filtering out something outside the select clause, then we are filtering out the rows only, right? So this is
Mhm.
how the statement is made, right? Because otherwise people usually get confused. Okay, we are filtering out columns or rows. So to filter out column, there is only one thing, select clause, right? To filter out rows, there are different things. We can use where clause, we can use offset, we can use group by having clause, right?
Yes.
Cool. So, so the next thing was in having clause, like with the group by, in select clause and in having clause, we can use only those columns that is present in the group by clause or the aggregate functions we can use with the columns which are not in the group by clause. Cool.
Yeah.
And okay, that's it. Now we have completed. And another thing, we can group by with the multiple
Columns.
columns. Now the thing is, we have done with our group by, but now we need to know the having, right? So
Yeah.
again, let's say I have the products table, right? Okay, so now I want to filter data, right?
Yes.
So I know that to filter data, if I want to get this in products and where price should be greater than 100, right? So three values will be sorted out, right? 4 rows become out of 7 because 3 data has 100 value, right? And I have written that
Yeah.
price should be greater than 100. So if I want to use the same thing, right? but but instead of this, if I want to use having price greater than 100, right? If I try to hit it, then I won't. Okay, cool. The very first thing is, can I use having clause without the group by clause? This is the first question. Okay. So,
Okay.
do you have any speculation till now? If you want to make any speculation, do you have any speculation till now?
No. No.
Now, do you want to answer it before I tell you? Do you want to speculate some answer?
Uh. Yes.
Okay. So, can I use
We
having
we
clause?
cannot we cannot use directly having without group by clause.
Okay. So you are saying that without the group by, I
Yeah.
cannot use this value, right?
Yes.
Okay. But the thing is, I can use.
Okay.
So, but how can I use it, right? So the thing is, if I don't, I mean, can you speculate how can I use? How can I access it?
Uh,
Okay.
not group by.
See, if I want to use,
Maybe by using aggregate function.
come again.
By using only aggregate function.
Yes, but how?
Yeah. In the query we can use,
It
suppose
is
select count
written over
of
here,
some.
right? Or should be used in the aggregate function.
Yeah.
But how?
No idea.
Okay, try to speculate.
We use it in aggregate function. That price we need to use in aggregate function, like
Okay, and how can, I mean, what should be the query?
select count of price.
Wait 1 second. Select, yes, now
Count of price.
come again. Select
Count of price. Count
count of price. Cool.
price from public dot products
Acha, from public dot products. Cool.
dot products. Um, having
Having
price
price.
greater than 500.
See, the thing is, again, in having clause, it the error that you have seen right over here, it is not
Yeah.
saying that in the select query you need to use the aggregate function. It's saying that in the having you need to use the aggregate function.
Okay.
So
Okay.
over here, I mean, it won't make sense, but
Having
select asterisk from public products, right? If I'll try to
yes.
use having minimum
Mm.
minimum value, minimum of price, and should be greater minimum of price, having min price greater than price. Okay, then if I'll do this price, then what's the issue over here? I have used both the things. Then what's the issue? I have
So
used
that price.
all the things, right? That we can use.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the issue still we are what's the issue that we are facing till now?
This issue is that the column that we selected price it is showing.
Try to speculate, because the thing is, if we are going to if we are directly going and try to, without thinking how we can do this, if we try to just go on and on, then it's like we are not going to learn, right? Because the thing is, very first and
Yeah.
foremost, we should see the error, right? We should get in a habit where
Yeah.
we start to see the errors, right? So
Products column products dot price must appear in group by clause or be used in an aggregate function. So we should not use that column price column. Uh, must be appear in group by or be used in an aggregate. Used in aggregate. I think uh, less than price again we have used it, no? So that's why in the query
in the query,
minimum of price less than price
come again.
instead of that price. Yeah, that one.
I mean, where do you want me to work? In having clause,
And
select
and
clause?
and 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 the price. This
Yes. What should I do it?
we should do give it as some numerical value of 500 or something like that. So, yeah,
Okay, try to speculate, try to see the error, then try to match it with the values. You can use the different permutation combinations also, if you have something in your mind. Like usually people say that, okay, if we just go around and remove this from here, price, try to access the price first and then try to access the another thing, right? Then it's not working, right? because the thing is it would be same. If you just remove the thing, reverse the thing, then also the query will remain same, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so see, while if I'm trying to access the price, then I'm getting some error, right?
Yeah.
For asterisk also, for everything also, I'm facing some error.
Yes.
So try to deduct. So I cannot use every column, I cannot use some specific column. So what can I use? See, now the thing is, okay, we have spent a lot of time. So
Yeah.
okay, cool, and then remove this as well. So select star from public, and then products we were seeing, right? So the very
Yeah.
first thing is, having is created not to work on a single item, right?
Yeah.
Group by, we have used having with the grouped items, right? So
Yeah.
if it cannot be used, we were trying to use it with a single data, right? It cannot be used with a single data. Group by can be
Yeah.
used without the having, but the thing is it still works with the group data, right? Because we have created
Yeah.
group having to work with the group data, not with a single data. Because for
Yeah.
single data, if I want to filter out, then I can use where clause, right? Why do I need having
Yeah.
for that particular reason? So we
Yeah.
have seen the average, right? Average we have seen, right? What is average?
Yes.
AVG, and if I write the price, right, from
Yeah.
public user, oh sorry, products, if I'll do this, then I get 397 point something something, right?
Yeah.
So the one thing that I can do over here, so if I write something, if I do where some, if I aggregate some values and then I try to access its data. Let's example, if I try to select sum and the price, okay, from public from public products, cool, and then okay, if I'll do this from public products, PUPLIC products, okay, cool. So the sum is 2780, right?
Yeah.
So the one thing I can do, I can group by it and try to break the price based on dates, right? This
Yeah.
thing I can do, right? But if I'll try to
Yes.
do that, then what will happen? That I'll be using having with a group by, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead of grouping by, if I want to filter out some data as well, so I can use where clause, right, to filter out some data. That okay, let's
Yes.
take only data from this, right?
But good.
Okay, of I, and then okay, I, what's happening? Okay, so where over here, if I say where created date equals to created date equals to, and let's say this. So now we are getting error.
Yeah.
If I remove this, then also I'm getting error because it's products, not because of where clause, right? Because the thing is, we haven't used anything. This is a normal basic query. This is a normal query, right? Nothing new. This is a normal query where I'm using the aggregate function. So it should
Yeah.
not give anything, right? It's a basic query, right, with a where function. So
Yeah.
if I try to use having, so again one question, that can I use having with where clause? Okay, it's already used.
Uh,
If I try to do having
yes.
sum, okay, having sum of price should be greater than what's the 600, right? And if I'll do the
Yes.
500, so the output will be 600, right? But if I'll
Yeah.
say that make it 1100, the output will be nothing, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is how we can use. So another question is,
Okay.
can we use having and where clause together? The answer is yes. And how can we
Yes.
use it? Can I use, and even the thing is, I can use having clause solo as well, without even where clause. The thing is, I have aggregated this data, right?
Yeah.
I can just remove the data. I just made the data less, right?
Yes.
Okay. Where and having I have done together. So if I'll remove this, then I get the data, right? So having clause can be used in an isolation also, but the thing is, it should be that the requirement will be same. That
Yeah.
somewhere I'm using here should be here, right? The requirement is
Yes.
completely
Yes.
same as of the group by, and having can work
Okay.
only with the grouped entities. So if I don't use this entity, because see, the thing is, I was able to access a single column while I was using it with the group by. Because the thing is, group by made sure that grouping by on some particular column does not give me an issue of aggregate rows, right? So the ambiguity
Yeah.
was not there. But if I'm using
Yes.
only having clause, then there would be an ambiguity, right? So I
Yeah.
can only use on with the having clause, with the standalone having clause, I can only use the aggregate functions. First thing. Another thing,
Yeah.
can I use it with group by? Yes, having clause is created separately, not to be only used by group by, but it can be standalone. It can work standalone without any group by, but it can work only with the aggregate functions, right? So having
Yeah.
is created to filter out the data where the data is aggregated, right? And where is
Yeah.
also used to filter out data when we are working with the single rows, right? We are not working with the aggregated
Yes.
rows. So to work with the aggregated data, we need aggregated functions, or we need
Yeah.
something that can be unique when we aggregated the few rows, and that can be unique when we do the grouping by on a particular column. So that's why with
Yeah.
group by, we can use having with a particular column also, but that particular column should be in the group by section, or we can use the aggregate functions with the normal columns which are not in the group by clause. And other thing is that we can use the group by with having, but the having, and now the thing is, can I use having before the group by, or can I use the having only after the group by?
Only after the group by.
Okay, so the thing is, I have already done this, right?
Yeah.
So can't, I mean, I have this data, right?
Yeah.
So can't I write some query where there will be multiple rows, and then I try to group by again those rows. So if this is the thing, right? If I try to group by sum, why there is an error? Because the thing is, for group by, the sum is not present. Sum is here, right? Sum column will be
Yeah.
generated
Yeah.
at the end, not at the starting. And the products table
Yes.
don't have any sum column, right? So what I am trying to
Yeah.
group by over here, sum does not exist in the having, right? Syntax error
Yeah.
near this. So, and the other thing is, this is the one thing that I cannot do. So the group by should be always before the having, right?
Before.
So
Yeah.
similar goes with, can I use having, can I use where clause after the group by? So the thing is, when I use the aggregate functions, the number of rows that I can get becomes limited, right? So, and
Yeah.
having will have the will not have, only standalone having will only have the aggregate functions, right? Aggregate answers, and aggregate
Yeah.
answers don't have column names, right? Can be accessed, right? Because it will be
Yeah.
sum
Yeah.
or whatever as something. If I'll do as cost price or as sales price, then it will be that thing, but it won't be anything in the products table, right? So I won't be
Yeah.
able to access anything because the data is already been filtered and this row table has been created, this data has been created. I cannot operate on this data with the where clause.
Yeah.
And there is a way to operate on this data as well. We will see in the subqueries, not over here, we will see in
Yeah.
the subqueries. That's why we need to have this understanding of these concepts before. Cool. So what we have seen today, okay, so we have seen the
Yeah.
group by clause, right? We have seen the basic other
Yeah.
items as well, but those are the I mean easy stuff. So the thing is, I can where clause is created to filter out data based on
Yeah.
single rows, right?
Single rows, yes.
And then there is a chance that we need to group the data,
Yeah.
right? How many rows are there, how many rows for a
Yeah.
particular states are there, how many products with this 100 rupees price is there, right? So this
Yeah.
aggregation of data can be done by group by, right? And then
Yeah.
this group by, if I group the data and then post grouping of the data, if I want to filter out these data, then the where clause is not suitable for that, because where clause works with a single rows and columns. So for that particular scenarios, we have the having clause. Cool. So the another thing we should know that having clause can be used standalone, but the thing is we can only use it with the aggregate functions, and the having clause can be used with the where clause, but the where clause should be before the having clause. And we can use having clause, group clause, and where clause together, but the thing is the data should be in the sequence. The first of all, the filtering of data should be based on the number of single rows. So the where clause should be present in the first phase, and in the next phase the grouping will happen. So group by will be the next thing to be written, and the final phase would be the again filtering out the data based on the groupings or the aggregate functions. So the having is the clause that we can use for that, right? So these three things we should
Yeah.
know. And the other thing also, it should be very basic now. We can only
Yeah.
access the data that is in the group by clause, and whatever data is in the group by clause, we can access it directly. Otherwise, if we want to access some other data which is not in the group by clause, we can only get it as an aggregated value.
Okay.
Cool. So that's it. Let's end our session over here.